But what I've been working on for a really long time is how to solve problems. So you see stuff about entrepreneurship. If you go on Facebook, you see I posted what I did last week, showing you how, if you're a homeschooler, you're an entrepreneur, because that's someone overseeing a kind of a new enterprise. It's common in business, but that's not exactly our game or what we're concerned about. But what I want to do is show you this model that I've developed for problem solving. Now, what I've been working on is a problem solving model that covers everything. So you can use it at home, you can use it in parenting, engineering teams can use it in solving a major engineering problem. Because what I've seen is we bounce all over the place with problem solving. And what I want to do is show you exactly how to approach problem solving, whether it's a business, and a lot of you have businesses, side businesses, your spouse does. And I'm going to start teaching this stuff live. If you want to go to enjoyingproblems.com and subscribe there, you'll be updated on that stuff. But you, because you're part of the family, are going to get to see this stuff, but before everyone else. So I'm going to blaze through this. This is not the slow version, but you're going to have it, and you're going to be able to look at this. So I'm going to screen share. At some point, I'm going to add Jody. And I really want to just simply walk you through this process. So if you would think about what you're wrestling with, any kind of problem you have, and think about how this works. I call it the simple six. It's also called solutions crafting. But what we're doing is we're focusing on a process to come up with a solution to the problem. And in my way of thinking, in particular, you want a permanent solution. So the simple six is a new art of problem solving, or as I said, solutions crafting. And it works like this. There are 6 steps. And the first is to seek. Now, most problem solving models want you to define the problem. And I'm going to argue that's a mistake, because the moment you define the problem the way people commonly do, it locks you into a certain solution. And what we don't realize is what's really going on, because there are no problems until somebody wants something. So the moment somebody wants something, it's an entirely different game, because there are no problems until there's a want. So if someone is single, but they don't want to be married, there's no problem. It's the wanting to be married is the problem. If you're married and you want to be single, there's a problem. But it's generated by what you want, not by some absolutes out there about what problems are or whatever. There are people that want to live. We see movies about this, and they, work hard to live. But there are some people who are ready to pass, and it's time, So don't underestimate how important it is to figure out what you really want. Okay. Number 2, or I'm sorry, let me keep going. So the question, and all these have questions to go with it, and I have a more elaborate set, but this is a good starter kit. What do I want, or what do we want here? And that could go, in your case, for your homeschool. What do we want? What do we want these children to turn out? That's why you hear me say this stuff all the time. We wanted to grow up kids who could learn how to learn, that were happy adults. The second step is to see. This is where you observe, and this is really important. It's a skill to develop. So the more you look, the more you see, and you just keep looking, and you keep looking, and you keep looking. This turns out to be magic and the foundation of really solving the problem. The questions are, what do we see here? And what else? So if you're in homeschool, I'll go a little slower here. So if you see a child like dawdling and not doing their work, what do you see? Okay, so you keep looking and you go, well, they want to get up all the time. Well, that's a certain version of it. Another one says they go off daydreaming. Well, that's another version. So you want to observe that for that child. You want to observe how much of them are requiring to do, what their skill level is, how long it takes. You want to observe if you do it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon one day, 8 in the morning another, or 5 in the afternoon another. Just observe that. You're not judging or figuring anything else, but you just want to see what's going on. The next piece of this game is to sort. And in sorting, what you're doing is taking all these observations and you're basically going to put them into categories. And you're looking at the overall shape and pattern of things. And the questions are, what belongs together? What are the basic categories? So in homeschooling, the categories might be, in this story, time. So time is a category and what's happening in time. Materials, sequence, how things go in order of all the stuff you've observed. It could be a number of people involved. It could be other elements like which room they're in or what the environment's like. Is it noisy? Is it quiet? Is there something going outside, etc.? So seek, sort, and then simplify. And simplify is all about the logical movement through time. So this is where you're kind of looking at your process. So it's like this happens, then this happens, then this happens, and this happens. You want to nail that down, even in a simple way, piece of paper. But you want to look at the logic of it. So the logic of it through time is, well, we start, and then we have an interruption with bathroom, and then we have an interruption with food, and then we panic to get it done, and then we have to cry a little bit, and then we're on to the next subject, or however you do it. So you just want to figure that out through time. Next is, the questions are, how does this work? How does it move through time? And what's the cause and effect? Logic, right? So you're trying to look at how this stuff moves through time. Next is the solving stage. There's a lot to this, but you're already wired as a problem solver. I mean, you figured out how to be on this live, that solves some problems. So problem solving is all about finding a goal that, if accomplished, would solve the problem by default. So what we usually do is problem soothe. And that's where we take time to act on, problem soothe. We have kind of this cycle I've talked about. Pain, a problem causes pain causes action causes less pain causes less action, problem continues, like the baggage at Southwest. What we're wanting to do instead of soothe the problem is we want to solve the problem. And solving the problem means you're going to find a goal that, if you reach that goal, the problem gets solved by default. Solution is a byproduct. So if you look at it and your goal would be, okay, so my real goal, now that I know what I want, is I want a routine or a sequence that we can do for homeschool, that if we do this sequence day in and day out, it'll take care of getting them qualified for college, educated, etc. So we want to work on, they give an example, a sequence that is our goal, that once we get this sequence down, things kind of work, right? So, and the way you think about this is these questions. What goal, if accomplished, would solve this problem? What goal, if accomplished, would solve this problem? I remember years ago, we had a problem with going home, visiting with Jody's family. We wanted to connect with family, but it wasn't really vacation being in their home. And so we, trying to figure out what do we do for vacations and all, finally figured out if we rented a place that was near family, they could come down to the coast. They have relatives in the area. Everybody could visit because it's close enough to them. But it could be still our vacation. So they'd visit for a weekend and then we'd have it. And the goal was we have a vacation and we include family, rather than making our family vacation with the family. So it was our vacation that included family. So what goal, if accomplished, would solve it? You can also ask what goal, if accomplished, would solve it forever. Now, this is important. If you think about problem solving or creating a goal that'll solve the problem, think about forever. What if this went away forever? So with nonprofits, they've always raising money. I said, what if we could solve this problem forever? I like forever. Having a degree in applied theology, I like my destiny to be forever, problem solved. I got a problem getting into glory, and I solved it, or came out, God solved it with this conversation and my understanding of what Jesus Christ did for us. So solution forever. I like those things. And then, and obviously there's more to it, but that's the main thing is to focus on solving that problem forever. You may not come up with it, but that's the way to think. And then finally, you simulate. And what simulate is you run it through your brain. It's all about running a model of the solution to see how it works. So just think through, if we did this and reached this goal, how would it work? Would it work? And if indeed it would work, then you're in good place. So what you're looking for, though, is unintended consequences, like things accidentally happen. Years ago, I wanted to go to 2 services, and I did such a great job figuring out how to get all the core people to go to the early service that only people in the second service were visitors or singles, and singles were great, just not a lot of them in our context. And as a result, we had nobody greeting, because visitors are terrible greeters. So they'd look at each other and go, not a very friendly church. That person didn't greet me. Yeah, it's another visitor. So I had an unintended consequence that killed our main service, and we fixed it as a transition. We learned. So the questions here are, overall, does it make sense? Can we see it work and solve the problem? See that it works and solves the problem? And are there any unintended consequences that are unacceptable? So there's that game. And that's the simple 6. It should have, I'm missing a phrase, but after that, you just launch. So implementation.